Hi, my name's Millie, and 2 years ago I moved from Australia to Ireland. And I came here with an open mind, but also a fair amount of misconceptions. So I figured today, let's talk about it. As I'm filming today, it is the 21st of August, and I landed in Ireland on the 24th. So we're very close to actually being 2 years since we moved. And so much has happened. Uh, Good and bad. I'd say overall good, but moving to a new country, starting a new life, it's not going to be perfect and smooth sailing all the time. But I think before I moved here, I'd actually only been once before for about a week and a half, I think. So before I moved, I had a lot of kind of ideas in my mind or misconceptions about Ireland, and I figured today I might as well talk about them. I might talk about some things I got right another time, but I think things I got wrong are potentially a little more interesting. So let's break it down into ideas I had about Ireland that were very wrong. The first thing I got wrong is that I thought Ireland would feel more foreign. I think it's because I've travelled to a fair number of places, I'd say, and I've lived in a couple of different countries. I've experienced a lot, but I think things can always feel different or foreign or just not what you expected. I'd say after maybe 3 months in Ireland, I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. It took me a lot longer than that to settle into Australia. And I can't say if it's because of Ireland itself or because of the age I was or the point in life that I was in. But Ireland has always just kind of felt very comfortable from the start. It is an absolutely incredible country and it's just nice. I don't know if I can go more kind of personal than that. Like, just I get up each day and I'm just like, that's nice. I look out my window in my house and I see like a really nice view and I'm like, that's quite nice. Like, it's there are times when I do wish things could be more like exciting or intense, but it's just nice and comfortable and it doesn't feel crazy. Like when I go to China, I absolutely love China, by the way. I have been 5 times. I'm already applying for my sixth time, and it's like an absolute favorite place to visit. But it always feels intense and different. There's always something going on. Even when we visit my husband's hometown, which is quite a small city, there's not a huge amount of like touristy things to do, but it feels different. It feels intense. China and Ireland are very different in that aspect. Ireland just feels nice and comfortable, and I don't have to worry about anything, and it is just nice. It's very comfortable, and like I said, it doesn't feel like a foreign country. Obviously, I am from England. I grew up there for the first 17 years of my life, so obviously that could explain it. But I definitely say there's a lot of differences between the two countries, so I don't want anyone to think I'm saying that. But there's a lot of similarities and a lot of differences still. The second thing I got wrong, or didn't prepare for, I guess, is I underestimated how the weather would affect my life. If you have lived in Australia like I have, you'll know, it gets very hot. And I was in Melbourne, so there's a lot of like rain as well. Here it's not great, the weather. I don't like the heat. I'll let you guys know that now. I hate heat. It doesn't make me comfortable. I'm not built for it. It just doesn't work for me. So the summer, where we have like no rain and it's just constantly like warm. It's not hot in the sense that like high temperatures, but it's humid and it's warm and it's just so you can't really go out and do much because nowhere has aircon and you can't really stay home either because homes don't have aircon here. It's not great. And then obviously in the winter months it's just rain. So where we live doesn't get any snow. None whatsoever. So we don't even get like the fun part of winter. It just rains all the time. Yesterday, it was the first day we've had like a heavy-ish rain. It's about 5 minutes, but we had a heavy-ish rain yesterday, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to walk to work in this. So the weather, it impacts so much. I don't know I don't know if I just didn't plan as much when I lived in Australia, but I feel like I was never dictating, letting the weather dictate my life or like planning around the weather. Here I am a lot. I'm trying to go with my husband on a motorbike ride tomorrow. And he's like, well, we'll have to see what the weather's doing. Again, I feel like the weather dictates a lot here compared to when I lived in Australia. Even though like Australian weather is more intense, I'd say. Um, like people in Melbourne are like, oh, Melbourne has 4 seasons in one day, which is true. But Ireland has about 4 seasons in about 10 minutes. So it is what it is. You learn to live with it, but it's just not. I think I'm complaining a lot more because we just came out of summer and I hate summer. I'm not built for summer, guys. Not for me. So the third thing I got wrong is that I thought I'd explore Ireland a lot more. Now, that's not to say I've not explored Ireland. I think I've been to 8 counties. Yes, 8 counties. And I do travel a fair bit. I'm actually going to 2 new counties, well, 2 different counties in September. We are going to Antrim and we are going to Limerick. So I do obviously travel a fair bit, but I think I came with the idea that like Ireland is quite small. It's a very small country. You can drive around in a day from one side to the other. You know, like it's not a huge country, but I think, you know, travel plans and fuel costs and the cost of travel in general. Like if I want to stay overnight, the hotels are very expensive because there's a lot of tourists and they know they can make money from it, which, you know, they can. But I definitely thought I'd like visit somewhere new each month. I do travel a fair bit. I try to at least. Like I said, I'm going to a couple of places next month. I try and explore more of Ireland. My goal is to visit all 32 counties before I'm 32 because I think it'd be nice to be able to say I've done that. I'm not there yet. I'm 30% of the 30%. Yeah, I'm just under 30% of the way, and I definitely have to kind of ramp it up in the next couple of years because I'm turning 25. So I've gotta hit a couple more of these counties. But it's not as easy to get around as I thought it would be, especially because I don't drive, which I will be talking about later on. But yeah, like public transport to get around to different counties isn't great, so you kind of gotta drive, and then the fuel costs and like parking, and you know if you want to stay overnight, it's the cost of a hotel. You gotta plan. It's not the most convenient place to travel around. I will continue to try. I desperately want to visit a load more counties next year, but I definitely thought I'd be traveling more than I do. Point 4, I am going to talk about the car thing. If you live anywhere outside of Dublin, you do need a car. It's not... Okay, confession, I hate driving so much. I don't know why, I can't explain it, because I love riding motorbikes, I love being in a go-kart, like I love moving vehicles, but I hate driving, and I think it's because cars feel so big. They are so big on the road, and I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with it. Obviously, I have to drive more to get used to that feeling. I know, okay, the only way to figure it out is to do more. I hate driving. I've done my 12 hours of lessons. So if you are in Ireland, you'll know what I mean by this, but for those of you who aren't, you get your learner's permit and then you're required to do 12 hours of essential driver training, EDT. I think that's what it's called, essential driver training. You have to do 12 lessons with a registered instructor and then you can apply to do the test. The failure rates on the test are very high. I think at least 40% fail. Or it might be 50, it's closer to it. It depends on where you test, basically. Some testing sites have higher failure rates. It's a thing. But I have done the lessons and I'm waiting to get on the list to take the test. The waiting list lines are very long, so who knows how long that'll be. But where we lived before, so we lived with my in-laws before we moved here, there were buses that could take me into Dublin. There was a train, so there's the Dart. We were on the last stop. So, you know, I could get into Dublin if I wanted to. I could do fun things there. Now, I think it takes me almost 2 hours to get into Dublin if I take the bus. It's not fun. And I was talking to my husband yesterday, well, earlier today actually, about getting to a Chinese language class and an Irish language class next year. Like, that's my goal. I want to do a lot more like language courses. And I was like, oh, I have to take the bus into Dublin. He was like, you should get a car. And he's right, because it's just, if you live anywhere outside of Dublin, you need a car. And it's very hard to get a driver's license here. A lot of people don't. I think the average age of still holding your learner's permit is like 28 or something. It's not easy to drive here, and it's not easy to pass the test, but you need a driver's license and a car if you don't live in Dublin, because everything will be inconvenient. Like I said, I want to explore more of Ireland. Can't do that without a car. It just doesn't work. So I think I survived too long in Australia not driving because public transport was a lot better there. And obviously when I was in the UK, I was 17 at the oldest, so I just didn't drive. There's no need. So it's time for me to get my driver's license, and moving away has kind of made me figure out I have to speed up the process. So I will. That's my goal for next year. I will learn to drive and get my license next year, but not right now because it freaks me out. So point number 5, again, I feel like these are all kind of tying into the same points like as we go along, but I underestimated how rural Ireland feels once you are outside of Dublin. Obviously there's some other cities as well, but I don't really go to other big cities. Like even we went down to Wexford and Waterford, like we went down that way. And I go to Kildare a lot. I used to go to Kildare Village, which is a large like outlet shopping centre, for people who don't know. Like I used to go up to Kildare a fair bit. I've been to a fair number of cities. I went to Galway as well. But I feel like once you leave Dublin, everywhere feels a lot more kind of rural. Even like towns and stuff. So we went to the UK recently, and I'm just going to use that to compare. But we stayed in London, obviously huge city, massive city, feels like it. But then we went from London to Milton Keynes. And we stayed in Milton Keynes because it was kind of an easy way for us to get into Silverstone, because we were watching some motorbike racing over there. But Milton Keynes felt like a big city. And it wasn't in London. And then where I'm from in the northwest, Manchester and Liverpool and stuff, they feel like big cities. And then you go into like some smaller cities, but they still feel like cities. But Ireland doesn't really have the same kind of, in my mind, at least. I used to go into Bray a lot because I used to work near there. Bray feels like a small town. I don't want to say people consider it like a bigger town. I wouldn't be able to judge that. But a lot of Ireland feels quite small. If you've been somewhere where there's big cities, like I said, I've been to China 5 times. That to me, like that's a city, no matter what. Kind of no matter where you are, unless you're like proper countryside, everywhere's a city. Melbourne, yeah, rural, countryside, whatever, but like it just kind of spreads out. Like there's not like pockets, it's just the whole thing of Melbourne is spread out. Ireland doesn't have that. I wish they'd at least build Dublin up. I think there's a lot kind of that could be done regarding Dublin, but this is not a video for me to city plan for Dublin, okay? This is me saying what I got wrong, and I definitely didn't expect Ireland to feel so rural, especially where we live. My friend came down on the bus, so she lives near Dublin, and she came down on the bus and she was like, wow, this is like the countryside. I was like, yeah, girl, it is. The final misconception that I had is I definitely thought I'd miss my old life a lot more than I did, or at least more than I do. I lived in Australia for 5 years, which is a fair amount of time, I'd say, especially from the age of, so I moved first when I was 17, and then I moved around a bit, and then we left the month before I turned 24. No, the month before I turned 23 even. Time goes fast. And I definitely thought I'd miss Australia a lot more than I do. I thought I'd reminisce. I thought I'd, want to go back. I don't really. I'm going to be honest. Like, I know some people leave Australia or move to Australia and they absolutely love it. It just didn't feel like the right fit for me, I think. I absolutely loved the time I spent there. I had incredible experiences and I met amazing people. And obviously I got married while I was over there. And we adopted all the cat. It was an amazing experience. But I don't want to relive it. I don't have any desire to go back to Australia and, you know, start my life there, whatever. Ireland is where we are now, and Ireland is where we will be for a fair amount of time, you know, at least a couple more years. Honestly, I came to Ireland with both everything and nothing in my mind. I think because it wasn't really something I planned, it was just where we ended up. Like, I never grew up in my little town in England and I was like, can't wait to move, I can't wait to move to Ireland. You know, it was never something that I thought about. It just kind of happened one day, and now, a week and a bit before my 25th birthday, I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of plans and a lot of things I'd like to do and a lot of ways I'd like to experience Ireland. But ultimately, I think the conclusion is that I came here and I didn't really know a lot about Ireland. And at this point now, I think I know a fair bit more, I can say. I've had an amazing experience. It has been life-changing in many ways. And I'm very, very excited to see what the next year in Ireland holds for me. And hopefully I get to share it with you guys as well on my little channel here. I'm very close to 1,000 subscribers now, so if you are here and you want to see more of me experiencing life in Ireland, please do be sure to subscribe and comment and let me know where you are from, if you're watching from overseas, or if you're in Ireland like myself. And thank you for watching this video to the end. I will see you very soon with another video. Bye bye for now.